Fucked and drank all night, acted all alright. Had no need to fight tonight.
Right, so welcome back to the build. As you can see, we're doing a bit of work on the M57. We've just removed the EGR and fitted an EGR bypass kit. It was just a cheap jobby off eBay, but all the components are pretty nice, and then in there you can just about see it. The blanky the manifold's been fitted. I'm also ordered a vacuum hose for the engine. This is to replace the tired vacuum actuator hoses down here, which are all a bit loose, squished and kind of not in good nick. So I'll replace all of those and ensure that's all working, as it's much easier to do so now than when it's on the car. Over here, Dad's taking off the bell housing of the gearbox and ready for us to fit the Syncro Gearboxes adapter plate down there, and also a couple of other bits that need to go inside the actual bell housing. So this pivot ball gets replaced for a shorter one, and I think we need to take 10mm off of this. So yeah, we're just going to take the whole bell housing off, take it outside, soak it in truck wash and petrol, and clean it off properly, as it's all a bit horrible. Also, as you can see, the rear axle is refitted to the car. I'm just waiting on the spring mounts down the bottom to dry. I've just put a lick of paint on them, as I forgot to clean them up. So we'll refit the suspension in a bit. But yeah, as you can see, that's nearly all done. Over here, some people are against them, but I've just got in an order from Bulldog wheel spacers, and these are the wheel spacers for my car. They're going to be, I think they're 30mm, and we're going to fit those to the axles later as well. There's a slight issue where the wheels, they do fit on the hubs as they are now, but they're not quite perfect, so I wanted to space them out anyway and give it a wider stance, and it improves the turning circle a little bit as well. So that's all good. Once we've finished doing what we're doing now, I'm gonna start on the dashboard, which is over here. I'm gonna actually decided to recover it all in vinyl, so that's gonna be an interesting process and a bit of a learning curve, but I just wanted to make sure it looks nice. And then I think the plan with my dash binnacle is to get a bit of aluminium sheet and spray it black, cover all the front of it nicely, and then have a nice flat clean base to start, so it looks all nice as well. Then finally, I've obviously removed the viscous fan from the M57, not going to be using that, and I've received from Marcus Williams at MW Machines, I received his collaboration exhaust piece with ATM Engineering. It's M57 to R380 centre piece of the exhaust, which should save me having to make up any custom kind of exhaust. However, I still may have to do a bit of alteration to the middle part of the exhaust, as I'm mounting it in the earlier style mounting positions for the transfer box, but we'll tackle that when we get to it. So as you can see, I've got the rear main crank seal off the back of the M57 engine. I'm going to replace this seal in here for a new one, which I've ordered straight direct from B&W. It's best with rear crank seals not to go aftermarket. It's just when it leaks, it's a nightmare. I have to take the whole gearbox and engine out just to get this one seal, so it's not worth it, and hence why I'm replacing it now rather than later, because as you can see, it's not terrible, but it is a bit dry and crusty, and if that leaked later on, it would be a gearbox out job or engine out job, so that's a bit of a nightmare. Also ordered the gasket while I was ordering the O-ring. This sits behind the plate and nips onto the engine, make sure it's all oil sealed. Also, I've been recommended that when I put this back on, also put a bit of RTV in this lower corner just to make sure it doesn't leak where the gasket isn't under this lower section, but we'll get to that in a bit. I'll time-lapse me changing out the seal for the new one here, and then I'll time-lapse me fitting it also, and then after that we're going to be going on to some more interesting stuff related to the Syncro Gearboxes adapter for the R380 to M57, and what we have to do to this to make it all work nicely. So as you can see, the rear suspension's in the car, the Bilstein shocks and the Springcoil Ltd dual rate progressive suspension it is all fitted. Dad's just finishing up the other side, and now I'm going to move on to the Syncro Gearboxes adapter kit for the M57 to the R380. So this part here, this is the guide for the release bearing in an R380. And this is also the pivot ball for the clutch fork. In the kit, you're provided with a new shortened here pivot ball, so that's what I'm about to replace. And then also, as stated in the instructions, you need to remove about 10mm off of here. So I'm also going to do that now. This needs to replace the existing longer one that you can see here. So as you can see, there's the difference in height. So this is actually just pressed into here in that hole there. So what I'm going to do is use a punch and just punch it out and then replace it with the shorter one. So there's the old one out. Next we'll fit the new one. So I'm just going to line it up, put it on the flat, so it's actually put it on the flat like that, and then just tap it home. Actually, I'm going to use a bronze mallet just so that I don't damage it. But you can hear the change in note. That means that's seated home nicely, and yeah, that's going to be good. Next up, I've got to remove 10mm off the top of here, so I'm going to do that probably using an angle grinder. So removing the 10mm off of here, I've got the luxury of being able to use the bandsaw at uni, so I'm actually going to take it in, mark it up 10mm, and then cut it on the bandsaw at uni, which is going to give a lot cleaner cut than if I go at it with an angle grinder or anything like that. So yeah, I'll try and film that if I can at uni, but they're a bit anti-filming.